Well, I have a different kind of video today. So I've been working a job now for almost 7 months, and my hours tend to be in the latter part of the day, anywhere from sometimes as early as 2 in the afternoon to as late as 12 or 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. And because of this, I'm often asleep during the actual mornings, even sometimes the earlier afternoon, which I think would be appropriate because you're trying to rest ahead of going to your job. I've had the misfortune of living with a relative who we've described before that is almost inhumanly incapable of empathizing with me. They have no problem seeing me come in at 1, 2 in the morning and then waking me up at anywhere from 6 to 7 to 8 a.m. like it's nothing. Just whatever. Get up. Let me start questioning you about this or asking you about that. Now, one of the current dilemmas is that if a person knows that they need to get some food daily or needs to have food to last them throughout a week, I think a smart person would go and go to, like, let's say the market and just stock up on things that they can use for the next 5 to 7 days. That's how I am. I go to the market once a week, usually at most maybe twice, get the stuff I need to last me from Monday to Friday, and that's like a pattern that happens, 4 times a month at most, if not eight. In this person's case, they have this like child. And they expect me to, I guess, every weekday where they themselves are working because they go in earlier to go and buy the kids something to eat before I go into my job. And they'll say, "Oh, I'll pay you back," but I have a big problem with this because one, it messes up my sleep schedule to come in after a shift that ends at 12 or 1 in the morning and be woken up at 6, 7, or 8 a.m. to be asked to do the same stupid thing over and over again. Two, if they know that their kid needs food, I don't understand why they can't just get it themselves before they go to work. They have a microwave, so it's like you could just buy something, tell them, hey, warm this later. Kid's old enough to do that, knows how to do that. And three, when they mess up the sleep schedule for me, it's often very difficult for me to go back to sleep. I have a shift that starts at 2, but because of how far away my job is, I tend to leave 2 hours early to make sure I'm on time. So I have to leave at 12, which is 2 hours from now. And the place that this kid wants food from doesn't serve uh, lunch based items. I guess, like lunch type stuff until like around 11 o'clock. So even if you were to try and get it early as I attempted to within the past hour, I still would not be able to get it. I'd have to wait manually until the hour before I have to leave to go and pick this thing up, which is another issue. But I was thinking about it and I said, it's so interesting how, because I mentioned that last year before last year I had this one relative that was like getting mad at me for not taking out the trash, even though the reason I wasn't was because I wasn't there as often as I used to be due to working, and how insane it was to me that someone who worked from home was like at the house all day long, right, for 24/7 damn near, just expected the person who left and was gone to take out something that was like that they were physically able to do and around for much longer periods of time than themselves. And my whole thing was like, if it's such a big deal, if it's such an important thing to do, why don't they do it themselves? But I said, isn't it interesting that a person can work, right? And they can be treated just as hostile as they were when they didn't work. They can have their sleep interrupted. They can be given all these different side quests and tasks to where even on the days where they're not working, they still are expected to go and do these different errands and run these quests. And stuff like this reminds me of a video I did a few weeks back about these weird men and their fake success. And I was thinking of Molecule Splitter again, right? That's the guy that came on there and wrote this big giant comments about be a man and nobody owes you gas money. And I said I always think it's interesting how when they do comments like this, they always leave out the part where I do work and have been working now for over half a year. But also they never reflect this back on the people that I am supposedly expecting something from. So like I wouldn't have a problem with someone believing that I'm not quote unquote owed gas money if the same people who do not owe me gas money didn't expect me to drive 30 miles a day, a whole literal gallon of gas to go pick their kid up from school, uh, or 20 miles to pick up their mail from some other house that they have their address at. You know, this is the problem with these comments because they try to get you to feel bad about believing that someone should assist you with something when they're actively trying to get something out of you. But then when that side is trying to get something out of you, you're supposed to just be like, oh, I guess I'll just do this for this person. That's the fundamental problem with this individual, that they just expect you to do this for them. Oh, you're there for longer periods of the day. And it's like, yeah, but this person is sleeping and you mess up their sleep schedule, or just them sleeping, period, by waking them up at 6, 7, 8 in the morning after they get off at 11, 12, 1, or 2 in the morning. Also, I should say that what this really boils down to is that a lot of these failed romantic relationships, right, the ones that people engage in and they either don't get married, or maybe they do but then they divorce and have some kid, right, these failed relationships that result in children, is that oftentimes one of the two partners does not do anything for the kid, right, whether that's by choice or they supposedly can't, whatever the excuse is. And that tends to cause people who did not create the child to have to like play this weird surrogate third parent role. So like, for example, if the other parent was involved, getting their kid something to eat, whatever, I probably wouldn't be expected to go and get them something every single damn weekday. But because they're not, they're used as a means to drag everyone else down with them. So you have to all be taken down because of this other person's lack of responsibility for what they caused. As I've said before, I don't have any children, but for some reason I'm expected to, I mentioned before that like I did like this cryptic video 2 weeks ago about how I was called lazy, right? This term that's tends to be used for people that don't have a job, because I didn't want to pick up somebody from a place that when you drive to and from there is a whole gallon of gas for a person who's not going to compensate me for doing this supposed thing for them, because they just expect me to do it for them. Oh, you live under my roof, so just help me out, even though I'm completely fine with not helping you to get any actual utilities like food or gas or anything else you need. But yeah, just help me out. And I said it's going to be real frustrating over the next 8 weeks, if not longer, that since this person is not in school, you're just expected to, I guess, Monday through Friday, except for the days where the other person does not go to work, keep doing the same thing of, before you go to your job, buy them food, every day, just buy them food. And let me wake you up at 6, 7, 8 in the morning to ask you to do the same stupid thing every day, when I could, as a person who knows that this person needs food, go to the market and get them things that can last them throughout the week, instead of messing up your sleep, and tasking you with the same thing that I know I should do as the actual person that created them. So it's just a really lousy situation, that just frustrates me, because I don't see what I'm doing wrong. I don't see this as something I should have to be responsible for doing. And it's just another example of people always like, they're so good at telling you you're like nothing, right? Oh, I don't need you to pay my stuff, but then you're also needed to like do these side quests and tasks for them, and I just find it interesting. It's all part of that same contradictory spirit. But yeah, when I pass away eventually, knowing that I'll never have to see the relative that called me lazy after when I didn't have a job and then called me lazy after getting one, or the one that do you want to have a place to live when you come back, or the other one that defended that person with their last breath. Knowing I'll never have to see the three of them again will make me accept my passing a lot easier. At least when I'm deceased, I'll be able to hopefully get some sleep.